Okay, so here we've got a network with 12 activities, and they're asking us for the earliest start time of activity G. So generally we need to do a flow through of the network. So, and you want to get the earliest start time is, so when we start putting these boxes, we normally say the earliest start time, and then we call the second box when we go backwards the latest starting time. Okay, so I like to start at the start of the network, and so here, and I just draw a box to say, all right, this is the beginning of A, and you've got to have this dual box for every activity. So this is A. Now A is at the start, so it's a 0 starting time, and C has a 0 starting time. And then we move up here, and we're going to move to D. Now, because A took 6 minutes to do, then D can't start till A finishes, so its earliest starting time is after the 6. Okay, and then, oops, I've actually missed out. B is also at the start, so I'll just add that in, and that's 0. So then if you go along here, all right, so then if we go along B gets to here, so it's if we go, I'll just highlight that so you know what I'm talking about. So we go along B, and we're here, and B has taken 10 minutes. So what has also happened is, because this dummy, so this means that this activity B has to finish before this one can start as well. So if we look up here, this would be the beginning of our activity G down here. And normally we'd go like this. We'd say, all right, we're moving along here. So we'll add 5 and the 6. And the 5, and if you add 5 and the 6, that gives 11. But if you also have to wait for B to occur, so B takes 10. Now, when you're going forward, which is the blue, the earliest, we take the biggest number. So because 11's the largest, that's why we've got 11 there. So the earliest starting time for G is 11 hours, because this was in hours. Okay, so you have to check on which way. So this way, when we came from B, B took 10, but we have to wait until D's finished, which is going to take us, in total 11. So that's why we've got 11. Okay, so with this question, we've got a precedence table or whatever, and we've got all the activities. We've got no diagram, but they're asking us if we did draw the diagram, the project will require dummy activity. Okay, and they go, where is that dummy activity? Now, a good way to spot the dummy activity is if you go down these immediate predecessors, you'll see that, say for F here, it has, before it can start, it has to have D and E. So what we're also seeing though is G also has to have E. So generally we can see a dummy generally occurs when you see this repeated twice, and particularly when one has 2 and the other one has just the letter by itself. So we can probably see that a dummy is going to be required there. We may also, so we think that's where the dummy is going to be. So maybe it's generally better that we have a look at, we try and draw it. Sometimes I find it's easier if we draw the diagram. So let's draw the network using the table that we've got. So you can see the early starting time for A and B. So if I draw out from the start, and I'd say, all right, A is going to take me 6 there, and B is going to take me 7. Okay, so they have nothing, and they have no predecessors there at the start. Now C comes from A, so I might draw, say C, and it has a duration of 10, so I'll put 10 there, and D also comes out of A, has to wait for A, so I might draw D, and it has 7. Okay, so we've done that one. We look at E comes out of B, so we might have E coming out, and E takes 8. Okay, now here, when we see these, now we're getting up to this thing where we've got, all right, F has to wait for D and E, and G has to wait for E. Now, what I suggest you, the next one you draw in your diagram, is always do the one that's got it by itself, and it'll come out of that. So see how G has to wait for only E, so that means I'm going to draw G out of, definitely coming out of E. All right, yeah, coming out of E, so G and 2. Now, F up here, it comes out of D, but also has to wait for E. So if I'll draw out F here, and F takes 2. But this is where I'm going to say, all right, but it has to wait. F can't start until E's finished. So what we like to say is we'll have to say E, we have to get to the end of E, and then we put a dummy in there. And there's the dummy. So when they say the dummy activity, it's at the dummy activity will be drawn from the end of activity E to the start of activity F. Okay? And if we kept drawing it out, but we don't need to, we've already made it to that point, so we can see the dummy activity. We can see that H has to wait for G, so you could also see we could have H and there's G, but we also have J has to wait for G, but you can just do that. You can just be J coming out of G as well, okay? So that doesn't cause any issues there because it's just solo by itself. It's here where we've got 2 and we've got the letter sharing E. Okay, so with this question, they want the minimum, the project is completed in the minimum time, the sum of all the flow times. So we actually, you can do it, we've got the earliest starting time, but we've only got the duration. Now, this is a continuation from the previous question, which we'd already started drawing, so I'm going to go grab it. Okay, so I'm going to keep on adding, we got up to putting in, so we said G, where was it? G came after E, so I've got that. And then we had H come out of G, so I probably need to put the duration of H in there. And we said, I also jumped ahead and did J coming out of G, which has a duration of 5. So I've done this, and this. Now let's look at I. I comes after C, which is here, F. I'm just going to draw like that, and also H. So, oops, so doesn't really matter. Like, it's a little bit dodgy, but you're not getting us to draw it. And it's just, the drawing is just there to help you. So, sorry. So I'm just going to bring all these in. And sorry, we've got I coming out. This is a really fatty network, doesn't matter. So I is 6, so I've done that. We did the G, the J coming out of G, and then J and I are predecessors of K. So, sorry, I've looped it around. Sorry, this is getting a bit dodgy, but anyway, it doesn't matter. And then here we've got K, and K takes 2, and then we're at the finish. All right, so you've got to do your forward and backward tracking. So that's like when we do our squares. Okay, so we've got A, and it would be 0, and here B is 0. And then I've got, in this one, I've got C, I've got D to start. Now they have to wait for A, so it'll be 6 and 6. Then out comes E. E has to wait for B to happen, so that's 7. Then we get down here to G. Now G has got 7 plus 8 is 15. Now here, because of the dummy, we've got to remember up here, we've got F. Now F, we've got 15 here, so I'm just going to pop 15 there. And then if I look coming via D, so I'm saying coming via this way, it'd be 6 plus 7, which is 13. Now 13 is smaller than 15, so I'm putting 15 into that F1, okay? And then we get over to I, Now I has 3 things coming in before it, so I better keep following along the other way. So we've got G, let's do over here H, so G plus the 2, that'd be 15 plus 2, that's 17 here. So J also has to wait for G, which is 17. Now if I go up here to I, now I going along here, going along the H way would be 17 plus 3, so that would give me 20. I'm just going to write all the numbers. If I went along the F way, it'd be 15 plus 2, which is 17, and if I went along the C way, it'd be 6 plus 10, which is 16. So 20 is the biggest, so 20 is going to go in there. And then once I've done that, I'll just rub, oh sorry, it's a bit big. I'll just rub out those numbers so I don't get confused. So I've just got I is 20, and then we've just got the very last activity down here, K, and then we've got the finish. Okay, so K can either come from I, which would be 20 plus 6, which is 26, or we could come from J, which is 17 plus 5, which is 22. So I'm going to say 26 is the bigger one, then add 2, so 28 is our minimum. So once you get to the end, you write 28, and then you just go backwards via. So 28 minus 2 is 26. Now if I go this way, 26 minus 6 would be 20. If I start here and I go 26 minus 5, that would be 19. Oh, sorry, even better, 21. Okay, now up here I'm at 20. Now I can go back via H, so 20 minus 3 would be 17. Okay, now when you're at this joint here, you've got to pick the smaller one. So because here I'm going to pick 17. 17 is the smallest, so then I go backwards. 17 minus 2 is 15, and then 15 minus 8 is 7, and 7. So there's the critical path there because they're all matching. But let's keep finishing here. So I'm up here, I'm at 20, and I'm going to minus 2, so that one would be 18. I'm up here again at 20, and I'm going via C. That'd be minus 10, which is 10. And then at C, so if I'm at F, I'm going to go 18 minus 7 would be 11. Or if I did, or I've got 10 up here. So 10's the smaller one here because there's 2 joints. So I'll take, oh, sorry, I'll still put in, I still put in 11 in there. But when I go to move off, I'm going to take 10 because 10's the smallest. So 10 minus 6 is 4. So it wants us to, the sum, so add up all the float times. So they're the ones that are different. So here's 1, and that's 4. Here's 1, that's 4. This one is 3. This one is 5. And do we have any other one? Yep. Got this one here is 4, and then that's it. So if I add up all the red numbers, I've got 4 plus 4 plus 3, oops, plus 5 plus 4. So if we add all them up, 4 and 4 is 8, plus 3 is 11, 16, we get 20.